If you're afraid to post something, share something, or say something out of fear that something or somebody else is listening and going to judge you and spank you for it, you are missing out on living your highest truth. I think art can be described numerous ways. Freedom's probably a little easier to describe, but putting the two together to me just makes sense. I'm watching a world today in 2021. To me, I see this society hypnotized by the idea that they think if something's offensive, it deserves to be shut down, and that anything that is offensive is bad. And I'm telling you, you're running the risk of blocking certain things about us as humans for the sake of safety. You're running the risk. First off, not safety of necessarily an immediate danger, just the safety of somebody's feelings and somebody's, emotions. You're risking throwing away something that matters deeply to humanity, which is the ability to express yourself freely, sometimes being wrong, sometimes being hurtful, sometimes being even to some extent, angry, pissed off, or spiteful. I'm talking about using modes, some sort of medium in an artistic or creative way to express yourself is incredibly, incredibly healthy. If you're afraid to post something, share something, or say something out of fear that something or somebody else is listening and going to judge you and spank you for it, you are missing out on living your highest truth, which is incredibly important. And I think that's where the freedom comes from. The artistic freedom is the ability for you to do these things, even while running the risk of other people being offended. And that's totally cool. I don't think I don't know. I guess I just grew up in a time where being offended wasn't something that you necessarily protected people from. It was just something that time to time happens, and you learn how to deal with it yourself. And that's a good thing. It makes you tougher, makes you more resilient. So art comes to you, or creativity, or ideas, which are incredibly important to our society and to the world. It's one of the best things that humans do is they express themselves through what first happens as like an idea, what first happens as a thought or an emotion, or just a quick little glimpse into something that sounds cool and would maybe be neat to make or to see externalize or materialize in the world. That need is within all humans. If you've ever made a profile picture for social media, or if you've ever made a scrapbook, or if you've ever designed something or painted a wall or hung up a picture or bought blankets for your bedding, if you've ever, obviously people go shopping and they buy certain clothes because they identify with certain things. What they're doing is they're identifying with things that help express who inside they feel or think who they think they are. The freedom to do those things is so incredibly important for so many people. And you run the risk especially when you're young with it or just brave, you run the risk of potentially doing things that are, potentially hurtful. And in doing so, you learn with the feedback from the world and from your environment. You get the feedback, and then hopefully sometimes we should allow people to be wrong. People can be wrong. People can be hurtful. And the answer isn't to shut them down and make sure that the tools they're using don't exist anymore. The idea is to be able to show them a new way. And what better way to do that than art and freedom? Fuck. You have to be able to speak your truth. And if we don't have the freedom to create the things and do the things, if we're getting shut down every time something seems offensive to somebody, or every time something needs to get, checked online, or somebody says something in person. I find in person, most people are totally cool with the majority of things that I even say, and I'm probably one of the more controversial people I know. And I don't often, you could say, well, these people go home and, they feel like shit after your conversation, Josh. Maybe you've hurt them in ways that you couldn't see. I'm smart enough to be able to tell that when I bring up controversial things, I can do it in a way, or even potentially things that other people don't agree with, or I'm making something or doing something or expressing something in a way others don't agree with. I'm smart enough to be able to tell that it's not killing them inside. There's ways to do it to where not only do we all get along, not that it's some happy pill to swallow, but you can do it in a way that's not just tasteful and effective, but is true to you. It's your truth. Speaking your truth is, I got to say this real quick, starting this channel, actually starting these episodes on this channel here on YouTube. I picked the name Artistic Freedom for reasons already mentioned. And it's just I guess a coincidence, if you want to call it that. I looked up Artistic Freedom on YouTube to make sure, it was something I could use, or if anybody had already extensively made something wrapped around it, and I didn't see anything. But what I did come across is this guy's channel was called Real AF, and being Artistic Freedom, I thought, well, I kind of wanted my logo to say AF, so I looked into it to make sure it wasn't, I wasn't seemingly piggybacking off somebody else's channel. And so I watched it, and this guy named Andy Frisella has a channel called Real AF. I'm assuming AF was for his name, his initials, but I have a feeling if you watch it, you maybe think that AF pertains to something else. And what's insane is I wasn't looking for his channel, it just happened. And you want to talk about potentially offensive stuff, not because it's wrong or bad, but because I can see where this sensitive society today that's overly cautious is they're so fucking careful all the damn time. I watched this channel and got sucked into this interview with a Navy SEAL. I should remember his name. I feel bad for not. Actually, I wrote it down because I did take a note. Let's see here. This guy's fucking awesome. So this Navy SEAL, Chad Wright, he said, "The way we live our lives, the well will never run dry." That's a quote from him. And in this interview with this guy, Andy Frisella, they were talking about speaking your truth. Now, it was a totally seemingly different topic. It was more based on not necessarily art or necessarily freedom. But what I got, it was just insane. I stumbled across this channel, and it really inspired me. I was already going to make this video, and I went a totally different direction for the last few hours, kind of developing this. And once I listened to this quick little interview, it just changed everything and made me realize how important speaking your truth is, even if it's wrong, because then you can sidestep, or you can adjust course. You can then, get that feedback and make the corrections you need to. But if you're too afraid to do that, and you say you're one of those people that don't allow people to do that force others to, bend to your will, whatever you think that is for now, until it's turned against you, which this process becomes dangerous because it does in turn eventually be used against you. The ability for you to speak your truth happens through the ability for you to make and create and experience things that help you to express how you're feeling inside. That would be, to me, my sort of definition of art. So art is the thing we do to pick the tools we need to express ourselves. Freedom is very similar, but has to be earned. Freedom is, I think most people know what freedom is specifically, but the way freedom works is you have to earn it. To have freedom, you have to have health. You can't have health without earning it. You have to have some sort of wealth or some sort of, means to an end to have the freedom to go places, do things, and have things. None of these things are given to you or protected or promised to you. Just promised your ability to keep them and to protect them once you've gotten them, if you earn them justly. That's what freedom is. Freedom is earned. I think I heard it best actually said years ago by another guy that I do follow closely, ironically another Navy SEAL, which this guy Chad was also on this interview I just spoke of. But this other interview, this Navy SEAL had said that discipline equals freedom. And maybe I'll get deeper into some stuff like that in a future episode. But I just wanted to kind of briefly go over what this channel is going to be about and what I want to share with you guys in terms of what I think is not only important, but stuff that's absolutely just been so special to me in my life. And I see so many other people so afraid to use it or to do it. And I also see so many people advocating for the suppression of these things. And I know that this is going to be a part of our society for far too long. It's inevitable. It's here. It's going to get worse in terms of its oppression on this expression. And I want to help on this channel people to see through that a little better, to get a little more clarity on it, and to be a little more free, if you will, to use these, to be able to express themselves and to be able to connect as on a human level, and to be able to do what we do best, which is a feeling arises inside you, an idea comes to you. Maybe you have something you want to make that you think matters to you. If that's the case, we're all in this together, so it's going to matter to somebody else. Think of the song somebody wrote that to them was very vulnerable and hard to say, but you've listened to and thought to yourself, man, I relate. Think how important that is and how hard that might have been for that person to make. That painting somebody had to, that story, that poem, that book that somebody had to write, the speech that somebody had to perform so that you could hear it and say, man, I got something from that. If we shut down the methods in which we use to accomplish those things and we snuff it out, which is happening, if you're not paying attention, it's happening, then what do we have left? What's the point of freedom without art? And what's the point of art without freedom? By the way, guys, what I really would appreciate is if you guys comment on this video, let me know what you got from it or what stood out to you. If something wasn't clear or if there was something that you want me to elaborate on, please leave comments. It's going to be really helpful with these upcoming videos for me to be able to understand who you are and what you're thinking, what you're getting out of this. And then, it's going to help me to address some of those things a little clearer. So I really appreciate you listening. Look forward to more. See you.